Hey peoples, Karina here, coming to you with this video. As you see, the title is Bolo. Got me some copal incense lit to clear the air. And if y'all hear some little noise on this side, like air or whatever like that, I got my window open and there's like a generator thing like not too far away. So you hear some slight air and noise that's coming from up there. But anywho, let's just go ahead and get off into this video. And I got my ashwagandha tea, because I didn't feel like drinking no coffee, okay? I just feel like I wanted to try this. I like it. Kinda. Pretty good. Actually, it's ashwagandha and holy basil, which is real good for your nerve systems. Like, it fucking balance you out a little bit. So like, if you sitting there and you like in meditation time and you just trying to relax a little bit more, that shit right there do it to you. It's like kind of balance you out a little more. But anywho, I mean, I only been drinking it for like a few days, but I notice I have more peppiness than usual. But anywho, let's just go ahead and get off into this video, and let me try to put this up high enough that it ain't gonna bother my sinuses and shit. So if I start sniffling and shit, no, it ain't the corona. But anywho, you see the title of this video is below, right? Think like a snake. I'm gonna tell you why. Notice I didn't say be a snake. Even y'all's Bibles, for some of y'all that's like curiously watching me, even y'all's Bibles tell y'all in Matthew, what it is, 10 and I want to say 16, it'll even much back it up what I want to say. Shit, be wise as a motherfucking serpent. That mean be hip to the goddamn games and tricks they play. No, I'm not a Christian. But shit, good advice is good advice, wherever you get it from. If it's some advice that's given that'll help your life, that's fine. And you got some people won't even take advice from certain places because it's not, and be like, oh, well, you don't believe what I believe, so fuck your advice. Anyway, I take any advice that works for me. I mean, shit, if it makes sense in your logical mind, I could give a fuck less who said it. It's like, it is what it is. Shit, it just is what it is. Like, for folks to be like, oh, I only take advice from this and that place as anything. Anyway, the Bible is just a book of supposedly common sense things that people supposed to like know, okay? And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I mean, shit, I have other videos explaining a lot of other things, but anywho, I just feel like right now, with the current state of the world and people getting desperate to do dirty shit to other people, not even just cops doing shit. I'm talking about you got certain motherfuckers that's out here like, just, they looking at the way you handle shit in life and they're like, damn, how dare you smile? How dare you try to keep stepping and like live your life when I'm uncomfortable trying to live mine. So, you know, I just do what I do when I keep people around me to make myself feel better by telling them what I've accomplished. But in my soul, I'm about loony as motherfucking, I can't even think of a looniest thing. Let's just say that they might just be batshit crazy, okay? But you ain't lost your mind. Turn the TV off. Get away, cleanse, do whatever the fuck you gotta do. Trust me, it helps. So anyway, when I say think like a snake, that means be aware of certain shit that people will try to do. Okay, because you got folks that'll, man, if I go into some shit and I feel like I need to go into it. And for the fact that I'm about to have to go into it, this video may or may not be here after a little hot minute. But I'm gonna just play it by ear. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people will watch what you are talking about on your channel to see how can I get up under that? How can I get around that? Like, some people won't watch what you talking about to learn how to fight certain shit. Sometimes they'll watch and be like, damn, why I just gotta come and be crafty in a whole nother way. And besides, this video might get a little bit graphic. Don't know. Let's just see how I feel. If I can word it a little different. Okay. So, this is an actual thing that had happened. I want to say like in 2012 or 2013, one of those years. And it was a little crazy because back then, like I say, I was still a Christian, and I mentioned that in other videos. And sometimes, like, look, here's the deal. Some people are just born with like slightly different gifts than other people. That doesn't mean that one person is better than the other. Just means y'all have different things to do in your life. That's why the specific gifts are whatever they are in your life. And a lot of times, if people around you and they see your gift before you do, but they use their gifts for bad, and they feel like, I got the power to curse you, so I can and I will, just because. And I'm here to tell you, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's like I say, I was still a Christian at this time. And I was noticing a lot of shit. You know, normally, like, if somebody's going to be under certain types of attacks, you wouldn't think that half of a crew would be on their witchy shit. Like, not, when I say on their witchy shit, don't get it twisted. Everybody that have spiritual gifts, don't misuse them, okay? So, certain words have, like, negative ass shit attached to it, okay? People like to think, man, look, whatever you call yourself, if you using your spiritual gifts to just fuck people up just because you can, you're a bad witch. End of story. Or spiritualist, or whatever the heck you want to call it. If you feel like, oh, well, I don't like this person, or this person looked at me funny, or me and this person is dealing with the same shit, so because she's not breaking down and losing her shits like I am, you know, I want to throw some rocks in front of her just to block her on purpose. People who have spiritual gifts but use them for nasty, dirty shit. Now, don't get it twisted. If you push a motherfucker in the corner, some shit you can't love and light to death. Some shit you gotta just put the smack down on somebody candy ass in the spirit. Sometimes you have to. If you don't, you're going to sit there and love and like that shit to death, and you still going to be feeling miserable as fuck. Why? Because you didn't learn how to do the reverse. You didn't learn how to do reversal magic, or you ain't learned how to, like, put up blocks to where if a motherfucker try to do something to you, it'll just bust back in their damn face. Okay? You got to know that shit. I mean, you really fucking do. A lot of people, I would hear, they would speak positive, they would do certain shit, but at the end of the day, they were still miserable. At the end of the day, they were still miserable, not knowing how to get away from certain shit. Why? Because there's certain things that I would do that you're not gonna do, but you'll see me do it and knock that shit clean the fuck out of my space. So these women that I worked with in like 2013, when I first became aware of a lot of shit. Like, I was still a Christian, but I was like looking into shit here and there. You know how you doing something and you think that you have no business doing it because people told you it was evil, you know, not to check into this and that, and they trying to teach you the ancient Egyptian things, or other cultures' practices are evil and stuff like that. But it's like, wait a minute, I'm dealing with some shit that I gotta find answers on how to deal with that. So that's when I first started like learning about chakras, and like certain people would try to, like, I already knew from when I was a Christian, like when they'd always tell you like not let certain people touch you and stuff like that. But I mean, I encountered some really fucked up behaviors that, like, the more I learn about other stuff now and I look back at it, it's like, god dang, I was really protected from a lot of shit. Sometimes people can see that you will have protection on you to a certain extent. Notice I say to a certain extent, because there's some things your ancestors will do for you without you having to ask, and then other times they're not going to intervene in your life unless you ask them to. Okay, now if it's something that can literally put your life in danger, that's when they'll like fucking intervene, like nope, 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 and they'll just block stuff. But at the time, I didn't have no idea this woman, the ringleader of certain ones at the job, was always like, she used to come in my face and be like, you say you a Christian, you lying because this and that. And then come to find out, you know, a lot of people who was into occult practices, or doing certain types of magic and shit like that, or even doing light white magic, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We've already had this discussion in past videos. A lot of shit is witchcraft and you don't know. I mean, shit, you might have to just sit there and be like, oh my god, you know, be spooky hooky dooky about everything, and you might need to learn something vital that'll protect your ass. But anyway, think like a snake. But I didn't know that at the time. So when she was always telling me, la hypocrita, you say this, oh, she was like, you hypocrite, you hypocrite, you hypocrite, you hypocrite, you speak about Jesus and this and that, and you all this way and that way. But I'm like, why are y'all trying to insist that I'm something that I'm telling y'all I'm not, you know? And come to find out later on, you know, they was going to spiritualists about me. They was going to gather information, you know. So a lot of times, so they was like totally aware of certain spiritual power that was in me before I even fucking knew it was there. Like, I had always been told, you know, because in church, a lot of times they don't know the answer. They be like, oh, the greater your gift, the harder you get attacked. But a lot of times they don't tell you what the gift is. A lot of time they use church lingo and they can't even explain what it is. Like, some people just, they can walk into a room and fuck shit up, or sometimes a person can walk into a room and bring peace into it. Sometimes a person can look at somebody and make them tell on themselves without even like saying a word, you know what I'm saying? Like, just a lot of different stuff. So because at the time I didn't know all these things that they were sitting there gathering, you know, every time this woman decided to she started telling people like about trying to unalign my chakras and shit, and I'm like, wait, I already knew about chakras. So the only work I was trying to do on the low was keep them bitches balanced, okay? Keep them bitches like aligned as much as possible. Because if a person want to get you in a magical sense, the first thing they're gonna do is like throw all kind of stupid shit in your way to like block up all your chakras and shit so you can't fight. But I noticed every time everybody that would come through there, they would take that same hand and put it in the small of my back, and I would feel like this heaviness to where like whenever I would be walking, like my legs would want to just give out, like they didn't want to work. Like, wait a minute, what the fuck is happening? They were literally trying to weaken my fucking chakras. They were literally trying to find an entry point to fuck with you. If somebody is touching on your if say you in church, they either touching you in the back of your back, touching you in the pit of your stomach, trying to fuck with your solar plexus, or even lower if they're trying to fuck with your sacral chakra. It's like, that's not a good thing. The lower, man, or if they even try to fuck with your throat, like they'll try to stop you from talking. They will try to do all kinds of shit. All kinds of shit. Like make eye contact with you while you talking. Because I never knew people could do certain shit. Like they would give you this certain glance, and all of a sudden your throat feel like, oh. And I'd be like, nope. And then I would always push past it. And so, like, damn, can't fuck with her throat. Bitch still gonna talk, you know? So that's one thing. It's like, if you a very strong-willed person, you can push past a lot of that shit. But anyway, the most fucked up thing that this woman did, and I didn't find out about it till later on. And this is very nasty, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, if you can't stay in sensitive type of conversation, just fast forward past this or whatever. But I couldn't explain it back then. But this woman, when she tried to get the ringleader of all the ones like literally trying to cast spells, there was maybe like 4 or 5 of them in the daytime, and then they had other little homies that they would come up there and be like, oh, this is so and so. It's like sometimes may have people come around just so they can view the target, you know, if that makes sense. Like they'll be like, you know, all their friends will come up there and be like, okay, because, you know, a lot of times they'll be like, do you see what's on her? Do you see this, that, or whatever? And they'll be like, oh yeah, we can fuck it up. And they tried. It's like, before I knew how to fight all this shit, I mean, yeah, some things, whatever. But this woman was able to, and I thought it was the weirdest thing. You know how women like to talk about, like if they're around each other for a lot, they'll talk about, oh, when your period? I mean, like maybe all women watching this don't do that, but some women do. If y'all work together, y'all just in regular conversation, y'all be like, oh my stomach cramping, I'm finna start my shit like such and such and such. Just talking or whatever, right? So this one woman, she's barely coming in, right? And she's like, hey, I gotta ask you a question. I was like, what? She's like, when you start your period, because like I have this really strong sense of smell that it, like, if I think about a person and they're getting ready to start their period, like I can sense it, and I know exactly the date that it's gonna come. And I'm like, why are you asking me this? And she's like, just asking. Kind of find out later on, because she would be way across the room, or in that place where we worked was real huge, or she could be in the back room and come out and I could be there, whatever. She go like, you start your period, huh? Like, how do you know? Like, you know, I smell good, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But like, nobody else at work could know or ask or whatever like that. I come in and be, oh, you smell good, what kind of perfume that is you got on? Because bitch, I wash my ass, I do whatever the fuck. She was like, I can just sense it. And you know what? That's how dogs do, okay? Dogs have that type of sense of smell. I mean, I can smell certain things like sulfur or like poopy, or I want to say poopy or whatever. I'm saying poopy for, you know, not to say shit, but it's like a mixture of shit and sulfur and acetone. If I could just say that, all that mixed together, it had this smell that make your eyes want to water. Certain times when she'd be around, I would smell that smell. They never knew I could smell that smell until, I mean, they never knew that I had certain gifts until she was like, she's like, why are you always doing this and talking about you feel nauseous with this and that? She said, you got goosebumps. Why? I was like, y'all don't smell that? And they was like, smell what? And I knew they could smell it, because one chick was like, you ain't no Christian, I'm telling you, like what you smell, that's demons. She say, I'm a witch. How you can smell that and you supposedly a Christian? I'm like, girl, it's so much fuck shit. Like when people will tell you certain things, is coming from this way, but then it'll be coming from something totally different. God gives gifts, okay? Some people can smell fucked up shit. Like when something fucked up, of a fucked up nature is around, like you can smell it. And then other people, it's like fucking bloodhounds. It's like they want to know when you start your shit. And I'm going to tell you why this woman was like, why she asked that question. Because I thought it was weird. And another coworker was talking to me about it, be like, hey, you know, I ain't really supposed to say nothing, but I done seen her, you know, ask people that do this and that, and then she wait till they go to the restroom to either change their tampon or their Kotex. And if they hid it somewhere down in the trash, she'll find it and put it in a Ziploc and put it in her purse. This bitch used to go to any type of means necessary to get her target. And I blew that shit off. I was like, no, that's nasty. Ain't nobody could just go that far. You know, I blew that shit out of my head. And I was like, nah. So then I noticed every time I was on my period, this woman was always all on me, following me around like a little puppy dog, like trying to be cool with me for that 5 days or whatever. Or sometime 4, whatever. She was always around trying to be all up on me. A lot of times if a person want to do something to you and they know your body is open, cleansing out, if you don't know how to properly cleanse spiritually and protect yourself, spirits like blood, and if they invoke an evil spirit to follow you, they will latch onto you via that scent. Fingers shaking while I'm saying it. Ooh, so gross. But anyway, I noticed one time I went to the bed, like after I was told that, because the other person that told me, I guess they thought that I was going to think it was cuckoo or whatever. And I was like, nah, you know what? This is the reason they said it. I was like, you know what? With all the weird shit happening and going on, to some degree, I believe what, you know, she's saying. And I think she was like low-key trying to say that, you know, she did it to somebody else, but she was wanting to help the woman do that to me. And her name was Luz, and she used to call everybody, she used to tell everybody her nickname was Lucifer. But her real name was Luz, like L-U-Z. Last name was Fernandez, so she just decided to say, you know, that's where they got the nickname from, Lucy Fur. And they dropped the Nandez on her name. But that's how she would sign her name to pick up the check. She was signing Lucifer. She really would, and she was proud of that shit. She was real proud of that shit. Head held high proud of that shit. So one day, I come from the bathroom, right? Something told me, man, this woman trying to get you. Right after, and I noticed she would do this for months at a time. Every month I would always clock her moves, like she was clocking my moves. So she would go in the bathroom, but then she started bringing her purse, and she never would bring her purse. And if different people happen to be on their shit at the same time and put their shit in the trash, somehow she could identify what was mine just from the scent of my body. And I thought that was creepy shit, because other people she started doing full-blown rituals, and all kind of hell was breaking loose, and I didn't even know what the fuck, because I was always coming to work. Like, if you ever see those people that come to work and they cry every time something go wrong, and they start telling everybody, that's how they know that what they doing is working on you. When you go and you start crying and telling people everything that, and the people that you're crying to is the very people that done did it to you, and you just letting them know, yeah, it worked. So she would start always taking her bags in there and stuff, and then she come out, she'd be like, man, she say, I started bringing my purse with me because, you know, I need extra things because, you know, my cycle getting heavy, you know. And she was always saying it that way. And it's like she would have this guilty look on her face. And I'm like, why you look like that? Why you acting like that? Why you whatever? Because I noticed when she was up to her fuck shit and when I would be on my period, my senses would heighten like immensely. And I used to play that shit off and think, oh, maybe it's just something in the air, it's this and that. And I didn't find out until like later on. Bitch, you can smell demonic presences in the spirit. That's a real fucking thing. A lot of people talk about it or whatever, but it's like, have you literally smelled that shit? Some of that shit will make you get goosebumps, and it just make you feel some type of way to where when you get home, you need to fucking cleanse, okay? So after I got hip to that shit, I say, no, something told me that when I go to the bathroom, after I leave out the bathroom, before I leave out the bathroom, get you some paper towels, put you some soapy water, and pray over it, and wash the toilet seat, and like after you flush it and stuff, and wipe the inside or whatnot like that. Flush. That way, if she go in there and try to do any type of incantations from my essence or whatever like that, that'd be null and void. So I learned how to just start saying type of protection over my shit or whatever. I started praying over my pads while I use them hoes, or tampon, depending on whatever. And it just depends. I'm not really a tampon girl, but that's probably TMI. But shit, they have good shit out here. So she goes in there 1 month, and she's like, she looks at me. I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, something is different about you. I'm like, what do you mean something different about me? Something different about you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then as I got to learn how to, because shit was going so bad, and I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck to do. So it's like, even with me being a Christian, I was like, Jesus can't help this. And I was like, okay. And I got mad one day, and I was like, okay, if there's any spirits out there that love me, that's passed on, that are in my corner, I'm gonna need you to show up and help me. But I said it in a sarcastic ass way, and then that's when my help started coming. And then I didn't find out later on until later on that, hey, you can pray to your ancestors and ask them to protect you and fight on your behalf. So that was when I accidentally called on my ancestors, and I was like, oh, that seemed to work more than saying, doing other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people will do both, and they be swearing that it's one thing when it's really something else, okay? But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. So this woman comes back a few days after that. She goes, I'm afraid, mama, I'm afraid. Oh my God, I don't know. Oh, you, I don't know what you powerful. Man, please, whatever I done. And I thought she was joking or whatever, but y'all was coming at me with this force of, I'ma get you. And I'm looking at them like, what the fuck is you talking about? She be like, you is not a Christian. Oh my God, you're something else. I don't know. She kept rubbing her hands like this, because when she got nervous, just like she studied my little habits, I studied hers. She was always like this or whatever. She say, look at my hairs, they're standing up. Oh my God, whatever I did, I'm sorry. And I was like, and then I just snapped to it, and I was like, wait a minute, what spirit went and fought on my behalf? I'm like, wait a minute. So I really started looking into this stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm not supposed to be looking at that because I'm a Christian, and I was told that this is wrong. These days, folks will be a Christian, know how to do everything else, but then turn their nose up at somebody doing something, and you be like, hey, if you gonna stick to one solid ass practice and call everything evil, that mean you might well not fuck with that right there either. Don't fuck with that then. Since you wanna put stipulations on the way that spirit can talk to you, then you need not fuck with that. Just saying. So all kinds of shit was happening. She was swearing be damned that I was casting spells on her. I swear she thought that I was. And then, so when that wasn't working, she used to set up like little freak accidents, like do little stupid shit to just, you know, try to make you, like, say you sitting something down or you doing something or whatever. She'll try to set up some things, booby traps, to make you like either cut your finger or cut the side of your hand, just cut something. So that way she could run up to you and pretend to be helping you to stop bleeding or whatever. Because you got some people who will walk up to you, they'll be quick to want to touch you while you're bleeding. And given the things that she used to do, I've seen her dab off other people's fingers with shit, and then she try to throw it in the trash and be like, no, let me go flush this, because, you know, certain people, you know, they might try to take it and do a spell with it. And I'm looking at her like, you telling on your damn self. So she did something one day. She put some kind of spirit on her little friend. Because yes, sometimes people who do bad magic can have, let's just say you got your little narcissist. Sometimes they put the shit on the flying monkey. Sometimes they'll put a spirit on that person so they can come around you. That person will be a host of that spirit until, like, say if they said some kind of command over it, like to be on this person until you get around such and such and go to your destination, whatever. Or they'll maybe take something that belonged to you, maybe an ink pen or whatever, and, you know, do some type of ritual with it and let the spirits catch a whiff or whatever. Like, the shit goes deep so they know where to go. So she did some type of shit to where I had to clean out the soup warmers, and it had hot water at the bottom to where, like, if it slips and it falls in there, it's gonna fly up in your face. However, the chick that she put the spirit on to try to get that shit transferred to me, until I started, you know, doing shit that I didn't even realize, like, that was coming back to me, to like how to protect myself and stuff, because I learned that when I was younger, but I was like, I don't need to know all that. People in this world are not that evil. Oh yes, you have some that are. So she was staring at me while she was talking to me, doing all this, staring at that pot, and she did some kind of funky little glare at it, and the pot like slipped. Like, I literally felt like somebody hit the pot and made it fall from my hand and slosh back into the water, but instead of flying in my face, it flew toward the girl. And she jumped back and she go, and she did one of those Karen moves. So and so trying to hurt me. She was like a crier. She would run to the manager for everything. But it's like, look, I can't help if the shit y'all trying to do to me backfire. So all that shit wasn't working. So then the bitch waited, the bitch I was telling y'all about, she waited and till she was on her shit or whatever like that. Did she try to make like, oh, peace offering, this and that. These demonic ass people will be patient as fuck with your ass. They'll even go so far as to making you think their hatred for you has died down so they can get in your good graces. And so they get in your good graces or whatever. So she tried to, well, after she did all this apology shit, then the bad stuff stopped happening, right? No fucked up shit was happening. She was like, I'll take you home, this and that. I'm like, I felt like, nah, I don't know about all this shit. Then I was like, you know what? We're cool now. And then she was like, hey, I'm not gonna do anything to you because I already know, like, hey, certain shit, it just came back to me. Like, I'm not gonna do it. I promise, in my heart, I'm not gonna do anything. I swear, like, I really wanna be friends. So I'm like, okay. So I get in the car, right? She takes me home. Now, I didn't tell her. I mean, she knew what place I stayed. But, I mean, I live so close to the job. Like, 10 minutes I was from my front door into the job. Like, I was close because I strategically do certain shit that I do. I always strategically look for places of employment first by where I want to live. And it's how I've always strategically done shit. I've never been far away from anything I needed. So, you know, she would constantly, you know, she would try to be like, you know, since we get off at the same time, you know, you ain't got to walk, whatever, I'll take you to the house, or you don't got to do this. I take you to the house. And she'd be like, I have to pee. I was like, no, you don't. You just want to get out and come inside. She was like, And I already knew what it was. Then she didn't say shit. She didn't be like, you know, it's funny if you had to pee so bad while we still sitting there 20, 30, 40 minutes later, still talking and sitting and crying about whatever. Because sometimes they will give you a little vital piece of information about their life that they think that you ain't gonna do nothing about, because they feel like you can't do nothing about it because you don't know how. Just to try and get valuable pieces of information from you out of your life that they can pretty much use against you. So she went back and told people at work, you know, I know where she stayed, but she don't never let me come in her house. She never let me come in, da, da, da. And they say, well, she thinks it's weird that, you know, you never invited her in. I say, because something inside of me told me not to. Like, I felt like if she was going to try to touch something and encant something and put an unrestful spirit in the house, be like, you know, she could do that to you if she's sitting next to you, right? I'm like, yeah, I know that, but she's too fucking afraid. After all that other shit she did, started fucking with her. She never told me what happened to her, but then other people she was talking to ended up telling me the stuff that was going on and happening to her about what she done, because they decided, no, I'm not fucking with that. If you want to get Karina, we gonna get her on your own. We ain't want to be involved in that, because we don't want it to happen to us. And I'm like, why the fuck are y'all so scared of me, a little bitty Christian? And this is what I kept holding on to. Because people used to say, oh, that power comes from God, da, 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 da. A lot of people have that same protection and other things fighting for them. And so a lot of times they automatically say, because they're Christian and they haven't been taught other things, they'll say, oh, well, such and such happened for me. First of all, the Holy Spirit works the way it freaking wants to, okay, in your life. When you got a call to do a specific thing, a person can only try to go so far to curse you. You know, they can't just totally do you in if you have something you need to do. Something that you've chosen to do, okay? But I digress. Little cigars ain't not as strong as a cigarette, because I mean shit. I had this vape thing, and this shit hits like a Newport, so I'm like, no. Just take that to work with me in case if I need a quick little. Otherwise, it's my little chill shits. A little bit of nicotine. And I don't even smoke that much no more. But anyway, she decided when she was on her period to make some type of oil with her blood infused and other things, because I kept having this funky ass feeling like I would be asleep and then I would wake up and I would smell blood, and I was like, I'm not on my period, this and that ain't happening, like I didn't cut myself, why do I smell blood? And I smelled this shit for like almost a week. I was like, where's that smell coming from? Like, I clean, I do this, I do that. And I would ask, like, my companies when they come over, I'm like, do you smell anything that's like, bleach, food, this, that, whatever. So I kept waking up out of my sleep like I smell blood. And so I just went outside one day to smoke, because I wasn't smoking inside of my apartment that I had at the time, because I was in a different neighborhood. And the smoke detectors were like super fucking sensitive. If you get 2 little puffs and it was over where you sitting or whatever, that motherfucker was gonna go off like crazy. So some told me, okay, I bleach everything around here, let me wipe my front door. And my front door was green. It was a deep, it's like a hunch of green. So I went outside. Like, I've cleaned my door before, but I always felt like, it's on the outside, you know, doors would be dirty or whatever. Wrong. I had a paper towel and some soapy water. When I tell you, when I started wiping that door, because it looked greasy too, I was like, why does my door look sticky? It looked like somebody did big old sign of the cross. It looked like you couldn't see it exactly, however, but when you back away, you could see the glare on the door, and I never noticed that. Like, I would just be tired from work, and I would open my door, and I would just go in or whatever. Can't nobody do that where I live, because the motherfuckers is all white, okay? Trust me, that shit will show. And even still, as extra precaution, when I clean the inside, I clean the outside too, okay? And I do other shit, like, to make sure that my perimeter is protected. Because I don't learn better. So, I started wiping it. And I don't know what the fuck made me. And then I dropped the paper towels, like, that smelled like blood. That smelled like blood. I was shook. I kept, I was like, damn, that's why all this other problems. Like, she couldn't get me one way at work. So she tried another tactic. So when I say think like a snake, how could a motherfucker try to get me if they want to get me? You know what I'm saying? It's not about being overly cautious and shit. But, bitch, you got to know what some motherfuckers will try. So after I cleaned that and everything, and I just took some regular ass olive oil, and I did it how they would do in church, just bless it, and then just, man, just be like, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Like, I was literally trying to be like, I was spooked, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I wasn't but like, man, I wasn't but like maybe 31 at the time. Probably, wait, if it was 2013, I was about, I want to say I was about 31, 32 around the time this happened. So I went back to work, and I was like, why is this woman so fascinated with blood? And then she kept making, little digs about shit. So I went to her and I was like, I heard that, you think I'm weird because, I won't let you in my apartment because this and that. She's like, hey, I can't do anything to make you do whatever. He's like, oh, if it's meant for you to, something not to, if you're not to have something, it's meant not to. And I'm like, okay. She was hinting on something that other people was nudging her like, shh. So other people was in on it. Little did she know, I didn't like a lot of the shit that was going on in the apartment. So I was like, man, I found somewhere else that I wanted to move because my lease was about to be up maybe in a month or two. So I just had to keep it straight until I got ready to go. But then I didn't really realize the severity of shit until after I moved. And I was telling one of my pastor friends about it, and he said, oh yeah, because a lot of people, they be in church but they know about shit like that. He said, oh yeah, I sound like, from what you're telling me, she did try to do a blood curse on your apartment so stuff would start happening. And I was like, what? So now when people try to attempt to do certain shits, I can tell what they try to do by what start manifesting in their damn life. Besides, if you try to do anything to somebody and they haven't done nothing to you, because how they look like they can't fight that shit, trust me, you in for a rude awakening, okay? So, because I've gotten better over the years at not trusting certain shit. And he was like, I hope you didn't let this woman into your house, because if you would have, I just feel like by looking at you, she would have sat on your couch and stuck something in between the cushions. And he say, the Holy Spirit telling me you got a beige couch. I was like, you ain't never been to my house. My couch is beige. He was describing my whole living room to me with the teeth, like he just blanked out for a second. And we was only friends because when I used to be in the church sect, when we used to go around to different churches and stuff, and you become friends with certain pastors and their wives and other shit like that. So he was telling me about it, be like, no, don't let that woman. I was like, no, I'm getting ready to move anyway. He say, well, good. But by the time all that shit stopped, I had met my ex-fiance, and I had only been with him for a couple of years, so I thought it would be kind of weird for me to try to tell him what was going on. He was like, don't worry about it. just pray. And I used to hate when people tell me, just pray. Like, no, you got to do other stuff, because, like, just pray. Hell, you know, but then I noticed that when I would say, all the spirits that love me within the sound of my voice, the spirits that mean well for me, that's like, I started praying like that instead of like saying Jesus this and Jesus that, and that seemed to have more power when I was doing that. I'm sorry if you watching this and you thinking, no, nothing has more. I'm like, you know what, there is a lot of forces out there that you can call on, and whatever works for you. But anyway, she was doing that shit. And when they found out, the manager told them, well, Karina needs somebody to cover her shift because she ain't gonna be in for like 3 days. They was like looking at each other like, oh, something happened. Then I come back to work, they're like, did something happen? I'm like, yeah, something did happen. Like, I moved. I live way far away from where I live kind of far away from where I went. You know, it's a little longer for me to get to work, but yeah, I don't live in those old apartments anymore. And they be like, where you stay at? I be like, it's not your business. The manager say, well, we need you to change your address. And I was like, I'm gonna be leaving this store anyway soon, so no, I don't think so. He said, what about for your W-2s? I was like, I will come pick it up, because y'all know that's how y'all do it. We pick our W-2s up. So I didn't even give my workplace my new address, because I knew that, you know, they was cool with that manager, and that manager would give them certain information that they wanted, because he was kind of, you know, too friendly with certain people about other things. So yeah, there's that. Moral of the story, think like a motherfucking snake. If you feel like a person is trying to be nice to you just to get you in a trusting mode, or hell, sometimes they might give you shit or try to make offerings to you, or say it's peace offering, this and that. It's like, no, a simple apology from the mouth is good. Don't give me no peace offering shit. But I'll tell y'all about that in the next video, because it's definitely gonna be a part 2 to this. So talk to y'all in that next video. Bye.